Oh my. Okay, gotta mute you. The intro music always gets me hyped. Hey guys, welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Now, why do you sound like you're in like a bunch of rain?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know that. I ain't touched nothing.
You got like a lot of noise coming through. Okay.
It's probably my laptop.
It's gone now. Okay, cool. Hey. So, is this Jessica's son? Hello?
Probably should have to have been a very young mom.
Like, hello. But yeah, you guys, make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel. We just got off of DG's channel. So once you're done here, if you guys weren't a part of that stream, go back and watch that on replay.
Man said cheap mic, bro. Just type that
No,
in.
it's not a cheap mic. You just had the settings wrong.
Yeah, just type that in, man.
Yeah, that's a
Very
good
easy
mic.
to talk.
Yeah, that's a good mic. But yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still shooketh from the Gabriel news. I can't lie. It's just like if there was ever a player that I was excited to watch play against Real Madrid, it probably was him, besides like, Saka, whatever. So I'm rattled. Um, what do we do now? What do we do now? There's two things that I've seen post injury news that he's out for the season. If you guys are unaware, he's out for the season. He has to have surgery. This will be the third player that we had that has like a grade 3 hamstring injury. So the three things that I do feel like has come out of this is the blame. People are blaming Arteta for these injuries. That to just accept that Kiwior is going to play this game and whatever she'll be, and that somehow now we need two defenders in the summer for the summer window. So I want to talk about all three of those things because I mean I have thoughts, but I definitely want to know what you think.
Where do you want to start, Jess, man? We got to break it down.
Where does the blame lie? Like, should we be looking to find somebody to blame? Like, what's the deal with that?
I mean, in life, especially something as emotional as football, there's always going to be either quote unquote rightly or wrongly a scapegoat or a fool guy or whatnot. Now, the nature of the business, especially with kind of tying in with Berta coming in now, like Cronkies are not going anywhere. Cronkies people, them that are in and around the club, not going anywhere. Berta's here. The fool guy is going to be Mikel Arteta. That's just the nature of football. In relation to what I feel it's everything, man. I think it's everyone. I think Mikel Arteta. It's a double-edged sword because I'm not as heavy on rotation as some of our fans, if I'm completely honest with you, but we all know his problems. He doesn't rotate enough. Nobody comes in and out of this football club within certain remits without his say. So clearly the recruitment staff have left us stranded. I've heard Mikel Arteta 2-3 times last season and the year before say we've got one of the smallest squads. So recruitment, we failed. We didn't build on the quality starting 11 and make those curtain raiser signings. We didn't look at the floor and have enough depth, where Arteta keeps saying we've got 19 players 19 players competing in 4 trophies. It's not sustainable. And we all know there's been times where maybe not necessarily rest, but you could save Gabriel Magalhaes and Saka at times, take him off with 20 minutes to go here and there, and before you know, who knows. And there's got to be something. We've got a small squad. We've got 3-4 hamstring injuries. There's got to be something there. And if I'm honest with you, again, I don't wish injury on anyone, but we've been owed this. Like this season's one thing, but the last 2 years, a lot of these players for club and country have been playing. There's a wider discussion, not just with Arsenal, but everybody, about the amount of games for club and country. We're seeing Champions League expanded, World Cup expanded, talk about Euros expanding. We're not in it, but the club championship or whatever it's called, that's expanding. So we either cry or we adapt. And it does feel for me just like we're kind of crying about the same things. Yes, this season has been unprecedented with injuries, but you could see we're kicking a problem up the road. We've also seen other clubs have injury crisis. Liverpool a couple of years ago. We might have had a clean run with injuries last season, but we also did miss for the majority of it Partey, Timber, and Tomiyasu. So we know what injuries do. And the year before that, Saliba's injury. So we've had enough lived experiences, man, and transferable experiences to know that the squad is not able to cope. And as you know, when you've got a small squad and a lack of rotation, it's a matter of time before the Sakas, the Benjamin Whites, the Kai Havertz's, the Martinellis, they're going to get injuries. And injuries are always going to happen. As you know, man, footballers getting injured are like chefs cutting their hands. So it's disappointing. It's somewhat predictable, maybe not in these circumstances, but I can't say we didn't see this coming, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the temperature that I'm on with it's Mikel's fault is a lot lower than some other people's, because I just don't think I have enough information. Do I think there needs to be an investigation?
A serious inquest.
Absolutely, because this just, it's crazy. I do think in general, I do feel like Mikel doesn't rotate enough, but Gabriel's injury in particular, because there was no early signs, in my opinion, of any sort of fatigue from him, that unlike the Kai situation, or maybe the Bukayo situation, where there were signs of fatigue, clear signs of fatigue. I didn't really see that. People blaming Gabriel Jesus. The Gabriel
I mean, the
Jesus
man only got an
injury,
ACL injury.
an
Like, it's a bit harsh.
ACL, guys. Like, and Gabriel Jesus was injury prone before he came to Arsenal. So, he got those injuries consistently. So I want to just be a little bit more careful about what I blame Mikel for. Like, I'd like to be specific. I think my temperature on it is a little bit lower than everybody else's, but there does need to be some sort of inquest because they are going to maintain these level of games. They are going to continue to play more than they probably should. So we need to have a bigger squad. That's for sure.
Simple as that.
We need a bigger squad. We need to rid ourselves of anybody who's injury prone because the reality is they'll never be fit when you need them to be. It's just you can't
Which is
have guys
another
on the books
problem in
that
itself.
they're never fucking available. And so they're taking up squad spots and it's just like, hello, we also need to be cognizant of the Miles Lewis-Skelly and Onyeri and that they're young players. And just even the criticism of Miles Lewis-Skelly the other day for me was just like insane because he's playing a lot of football for a young player. We need to protect them too. So it's a lot, it is. And it's just a lot of injuries in a short period of time. And it feels like our luck has kind of run out. Looking forward to these games. The Premier League feels over, but Everton away has been a bogey game for us for a long time. How do you, as the coaching staff, how do you navigate prioritizing potentially the tie against Real Madrid, but also understanding that top 4 isn't really, or top 5 isn't really wrapped up, so you want to keep it professional? How would you, attack these next 2 games?
The first thing I would say is, and again, I don't want to keep going back in time, but like they know the fixture calendar list. Like, if we're and if it went the way we'd all want it to be, like we're still in the FA Cup, we'd have obviously advanced to the next rounds of the League Cup. We hope to go all the way in the Champions League. We would have hoped that the Premier League race was a lot quicker. I mean, a lot closer. This raises in question the level of depth. So they knew in August or July or whenever they're looking at the calendar list, and we all know because it happens every year in the first couple of weeks of a season, where it's one game a week and it's all cozy. Arsenal fans do this thing of, like, for example, is it Ben White's done now because you got Timber. Then you get to that period, like just before the end of the year and coming out of the year into the new year, where there's 3 games in 10 days. You're playing twice a week. There's international breaks. Players are getting injured and all of these kind of things. So they have to know how to navigate it. You have to know how you're going to navigate in the best case scenario of everyone fit, or in the worst case scenario where people are not going to be there. I understand what people are saying in that. Obviously, we're just fulfilling our fixtures at this moment in time, and we the only thing we've got to play for is against Real Madrid, which even if we had everybody fit is a massive task, and it's even made bigger with everything we already know. So I hear it with maybe not necessarily throwing the game, but rotating and biting a bullet and all those things. But as you said, it's probably improbable that we're not going to finish anything from 2nd to 5th. But I do think we need to build momentum. I do think we need to win games. I do think Everton can get dark away from home. I do think we owe it to the traveling fans and those fans around the world that are going to wake up to watch the game. So me, I'm on winning. I'm on somewhat playing the strongest team, and it is what it is, man. We just have to go, man.
Well,
I didn't say throw in the game to reply to Smokey. Like,
no, I don't know. I think you're saying the exact opposite of
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're saying the exact opposite, that you want to play like pretty much all of the starters. I mean, I'm not saying throw the game, but I'm rattled enough and traumatized enough where I'd want to wrap some players in cotton wool. So
I hear that.
That's kind of where I'm at. Karubal says, how can you see Tomiyasu for 2 years and then sign Calafiore? I do want to kind of dive into this because this is going to be somewhat of the conversations going into the summer. You know that I've been very vocal about if I have to give up any signing in the summer, it's not going to be anything up front. It has to be the defender. But now that Gabriel has got injured, I'm seeing people say, well, we already needed a defender. Now we need 2. We're going to lose some players, and a lot of them are injury prone. I think Karubal also said Zinchenko, Calafiore, Zinchenko, and Tierney are all injury prone backups. Terrible squad building from Arteta. Does Berta need to look at these things and be really ruthless about the backups? Because this is because somebody also said we just haven't been able to rest our core players for 3 years now. And we're seeing Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli's been getting quite a few injuries as well. Gabriel, like all of our like key main guys are injured or on the edges of injuries. Like, is it the case that the squad building from those players on the outskirts are just not holding their own weight? And does Berta need to be really ruthless and move all these guys on? Like,
I mean,
what do we do?
go on.
Go ahead. What do we do?
No, I think it's easier said than done. Obviously, there's significant business that needs to be done in terms of incomings, in terms of contracts, in terms of moving players on. But we'd be very naive if we got everything that we wanted and all the players that we would let go are going to go for a variety of reasons. Some are on big wages, some are injured, some might not want to go. There's an element of not letting people go before you could buy. We might have bids we might accept bids for certain players and they don't want to go over there, bearing in mind people on big contracts. Inevitably, Berta's got to plan what he can plan and get what he needs to get done in the next couple of months. But in terms of future planning, I'd imagine he's going to be at the club for anything from 1 to 2 to 3 years. He's got to start looking at this. We need to stop. I mean, injuries happen to players, in it, but it seems coincidental that Arteta talks about a squad of 19. When you really stress test that 19, the core players are being ran into the ground. And we have a lot of players that, if we sit there in August, are going to pick up injuries. You know, I'm not trying to be disingenuous, and parties actually did well in this regards. But if someone was to tell us the amount of injuries that we were to have this season, you probably would have expected the likes of Thomas Partey, with what we're seeing now in hindsight, Calafiori, Tierney, Zinchenko, all of these players to be missing. And there's also other players that miss 1 or 2 weeks. There's very few durable players in our squad. So the 19 is a bit of a fallacy. So he's got to be a fly on the wall and try to avoid repeats of these sort of situations. And some players, obviously, you look at Gabriel Jesus, he's had a rotten time with injuries, but he was picking up injuries at City. This is something we have to stress test. We clearly have to look at that. Quality is one thing, depth's another. You know, I remember, me and you used to argue about a defender, and I said, for me, the priority is a striker. For me, we need to get a left wing and we need a centre mid there. Those are non-negotiables. You have to get them. But then when you break it down, ideally, I would like a Tomiyasu, Timber, slightly Calafiori, versatile guy that can cover those positions. I think we need that. I think we need anything from 3 to about 6, 7 signings, if I'm honest with you, man.
That burns me so badly to know that we're going to go into another summer window prioritizing a fucking left back. I know the defense is
left backs and goalies, man. That's us.
It's so like, because it should be done. It should be finished already. We shouldn't be continuing to rebuy in this position. All the players that Karubal mentioned are all left backs, I believe, right? Tomiyasu, Calafiori, Zinchenko, and Tierney.
All playing in the Italian league, so Berta could probably help us not get ripped off in that regards again, because he is Italian.
I'm sick. I'm so sick. Like, because that's idealistically going into Real Madrid game, as hurt as we should be about Gabriel, and we should be like, oh, but our major signing, our marquee signing of the summer is a left center back by trade. So we should be okay. That guy is not even fit. I like Calafiori, but my goodness, you've been injured all season.
Defensive crash course and getting over these injuries, because I don't want you to get into that Tomiyasu territory. I think we would say it again, and we've said it at numerous points this season. Tomiyasu might not be in everyone's strongest 11 or regular, but how many times have we gone into games where either tactically or like this, or even with Real Madrid, you'd love to have a Tomiyasu there. You'd love to have this there. Even looking at Timber, obviously, Timber's done good this season. Is there any coincidence he's picked up knocks every now and again, coming back from an ACL? I'm sure if you could speak to Mikel Arteta, the physios, and Timber privately, while I commend him, probably got a lot more minutes in his legs than we would have banked on, at least at the points he started getting exposed to them. So it's like, as I said on my platform, it's like we know it's gonna rain, and we don't bring a jacket, and then it starts drizzling, we still don't act, we're out there in shorts, and then when it starts peeing it down, we're inadequate. We've kicked a problem up the road, and now we're paying for it, man.
Oh my goodness. It's just so, my brain is hurting.
Lost for words, man.
I am, because I'm like, there just cannot be any sort of diversion away from rebuilding the attack with at least 2 players and getting a midfielder. And, because even when you look at, because we've spoken about the midfield at length, and they're still missing profiles. you lose Thomas Partey and you lose Jorginho, and then you bring in Zubamendi. Your midfield options are Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard, and Marino going into next season with Wanyeri. We all know that that ain't enough, but that's actually the reality, because if you need to go get another fucking left back, the chances of you going out there and getting a number 10 or something like that, this is why I think Fabio Vieira is going to stay too. I think your hot take on your show earlier about Fabio Vieira staying, he probably will come back and stay, because we will not be able to go get another attack.
We need bodies.
We need bodies. Yeah. Like what? Like this is just, it just sets you back when you don't do your homework to like in the beginning. So I don't think we need 2 defenders, but the one we definitely have to get. And we need to get rid of all of the guys that are underperforming and like not actually, it's not even about underperforming. It's like you're just not available. You're just not there. You know, I'm gonna be really mad if we get to next week and I don't see Calafiori. I'm gonna be spitting up blood, because this is the only time.
Like why do you think? I hope he is, but like why do you think Calafiori is gonna be there?
Because I'm saying he must. I'm saying he must. This is the only time in the season where we really needed you. Because let's be honest. I got more hope
in Timber and White, to be fair, being there.
Let's be honest. Miles Lewis-Skelly is the starting left back at Arsenal.
100%. Until Calafiori shows anything different, you need to go and arrest Lewis-Skelly of his spot back.
So this is literally the only time that we've needed you for real. Because I even think he was injured when Kiwior started against Manchester United and Fulham. So you ain't been here, bruh. I see you doing the fashion shows. That's cute. I like it. You know, you're a nice guy. But you need to get fit, because I'm going to be spitting up blood if we get to next week and you're not there. And in my gut, I'm feeling like you're not going to be there, but I'm not going to be happy about it, because this is the time.
This is man.
Sick. Karthik says, imagine if MLS didn't break through. Whew, honey, we'd be up shit creek, baby.
Zinchenko FC.
Run that old thing back. Okay, Burby says, I have no faith in Cal will be back. KW, Kiwior. Right? What's Kiwior? Who's KW? Am I missing something? Who's KW?
No, maybe there's a typo. Maybe it's meant to be KT, or
we'll be getting a
it'd be JK for Jacob Kiwior, innit? I don't know. Big up BG though.
MM says, don't think we'll see Calafiori knee.
Yeah, same. I don't think we're seeing him either. I hope Jess knows something we don't. Maybe she's an ITK, but I don't know, man. I don't know for Calafiori, man. We need him.
Do we need to ease up on him this first season in the Prem?
At the end of the day, how you play is going to dictate how people look. For me, I think we need to look at where the injuries is, because I wouldn't describe him as injury prone, but in an Arsenal shirt you have, and there was, you know, I'm sure you did it with us all when we're doing our little research and doing our live streams. You could see he's had a big injury or two in his career prior to Arsenal, so maybe there's something there. If this persists, we might have to nip this in the bud. I got time for him though, man. I think he needs to go on a crash course defensively. I think he's a fire hazard in that regards, but I like him, man, at 22. Yeah. But if you're not available, it doesn't matter what I think. I like Tomiyasu. You've played 6 minutes of Premier League football. Like, what's going on?
Tomiyasu is quality, but he's just never available. And Calafiori is giving me them same vibes, and I'm annoyed now. Rob says, I'd rather play Tierney at center back than Kiwior, quite honestly. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of an alarm bell is going off in your head with Kiwior playing against Real Madrid?
A million. But that being said, like a million, that's your guy. Like, he plays for Arsenal, supporting, but that's your guy. Like, not banter aside, I know I always used to say to you, like, I don't know why you call him a good passer and all of that kind of stuff. I'll give him faith, because I want him to believe in himself. I want him to prove everyone wrong. You wouldn't be playing in this game if man were fit. At the end of the day, it's scary playing against Real Madrid. But these are the things when you was probably a little boy in Poland with aspirations of being a footballer to play at Madrid. Go and show Arteta that you should be utilizing me. Go and put yourself in the shop window if you're moving. I'm scared. The one thing I would say beyond everything with Kiwior, respectfully, you ain't got no, I don't want to say you ain't got no personality, but you come across as a very shy lad. Like, when you look at half our defenders, Tierney, Scottish, he's rugged. Lewis Skelly, youngest in charge, that London, that South London kind of mentality. Calafiori's a bit of a loose cannon. Tomiyasu, he ain't really got mentality like that, but he just does his job and he's very competent. Timber, tigerish. Gabriel, a bastard. Saliba, elegant. Raya opens his mouth and talks. Kiwior looks like a scared little child, man, like that's lost their mum or something. And for all the ability and what you can or can't do, when I see that, that's the first alarm bells. Going into the Real Madrid game, I believe in Lewis Skelly and I believe in, I'll give Kiwior my trust. But at the end of the day, I don't see a leader in that defense. I got time for Saliba, but I wouldn't say he's the leader. It's Gabriel Magalhaes. Beyond the obvious, that's why I think we're missing him. And Lord knows the communication between Lewis Skelly and Kiwior, because I reckon Lewis Skelly's going to have to hold his hand. And unfortunately, the attackers smelled this. Unfortunately, Kiwior's got that thing about him where people, obviously, I've seen Isaac destroy Gabriel and Saliba, but people probably don't fancy it. I think people see it from the Kiwior and they relish playing against him in that regards. That we've seen him run ragged. We've also seen him do well at times. We've seen him get twisted up. We've seen him make mistakes, but like, there's no point drawing him out, isn't it? Like, it is what it is. To answer your question, Jess, I'm scared because as a centre half, we know with the build-up play, you're gonna have to pull out wide. We know Real Madrid's a tough test. In fact, I know there's nothing to play for, quote unquote, in the Premier League, but he's likely to play against Everton away. Everton away, Real Madrid at home. If that's not a baptism of fire, I don't know what is. It's dark. I wonder if Arteta is considering a Rice at centre half or a back three or something. I don't know, man.
He has to do something different. I just don't see a world
Got
where
no choice.
He needs to figure out something else. Well, we said we had no choice when we were playing with Rob Holding, but there were other choices. It just wasn't the comfortable or easy choice. Kiwior is the easy choice.
I might even go right back. It's dark. And we got Marino up front. He's doing well, but this shouldn't, for a team aspiring to win trophies in their third season since becoming serious. Of course, injuries can happen, but we didn't put our best foot forward. Look at the conversations we're having. Look at everything we've seen this season, and it's still not done. Football's a crazy game, man.
It is. And this is somebody that likes Kiwior and thinks he has a lot more to give than what he's actually putting out there.
That's your guy. You need to back him. How am I backing him more than you? I can't let you get away with that. You told me he's a good passer and he's this and that. No, I can't let you get away with that, Jess. How am I fighting his case more?
I think he is. I just don't think that at
this gas him up, man. He's got this. What if he's watching this?
I just don't think Arteta can afford to have him out there. I'm just
you actually look scared, did I?
He's just, I just know, like this comment, we already saw Kiwior get twisted up by Leroy Sané, and this was like a washed Leroy Sané that fucked him up last season. He just doesn't give off the air of confidence, which is something that we've spoken about from the beginning.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's always been about the confidence and personality. And a lot of times in cup competitions, in big games, big ties, talent is obviously important. But if you can't show your talent because you're so scared, you might as well not be on the pitch. I'd almost rather have somebody less talented, that's actually more confident, because, you're going to be out there just doing nonsense,
And that's the thing, Jess, like on paper, yeah, and I mean this in the most respectful way. When you hear, like, when I look at these Polish footballers, yeah, they're man mentality monsters. Like, they will die before they concede, and they're strong like that. So when I hear that, and not only that, you've gone to Italy, which is like the university of defending. I'm expecting a bit more of a monster. Before I talk about ability, it's dark, man. It's dark, man. But we give him faith, man. We give him faith, man. Plays like he talks.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think Arteta needs to get his most assured and confident side out there, even if he has to move some jigsaw pieces around to.
He does that on the best of days. So he's doing that 100%.
So I just don't think he can have a repeat of Rob Holding. Anybody could have seen that was going to be a train wreck. And Rob Holding was more confident than Kiwior has ever been.
Well, he's winking against City and all that nonsense.
Yeah. So it's tough, but my gut is telling me that he's going to just go with Kiwior, but I'm hoping that he does something different because he has different options. They're just not the easy one. Sorry. Make sure you guys are liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Let me read some of these comments. The summary of the show so far has been, it's dark. Berta needs to smack Arteta neck in the office and Arteta made Gabriel get the injury.
Chill.
That's crazy to me. Bulgarian says Saka, Havertz, and Big Gabby, all hamstrings, all have been playing nonstop for the last 2-3 years. It takes a toll.
Facts.
Let's see. Karubal says, "What do you guys think about Rice at center back and Ethan in midfield?" It's something that I would definitely consider. I would definitely consider that. I'm not above it. I'm not above it. I'm very Rice. I know is going to go out there and because we're going to make mistakes, but you have to be able to get over it quickly. And he's not traumatized. I think yeah, I said what I said. Boy says, meanwhile, MLS needs no time at all. Just speaking about his adaptation into the team. Kiwior plays on 0.5 speed, and only thing he's thinking about is his wife twerking vids. Oh my God. MM says, having a 17-year-old hold your hand is crazy work.
It's the reality, though. It's the reality. Like, you know, again, you can tell Kiwior's a shy boy. Ironically, you've mentioned Kiwior, you've mentioned Rob Holding. You remember when we won the Community Shield? And Rob Holding was saying Kiwior was shy. I had to get him to hold the trophy and that. Now I understand that at the time, Kiwior, but at the end of the day, whether I rate you, Jess rates you, the chat rates you or not, whether you're not better than Gabriel Magalhaes or Lewis Skelly, whatever, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you've got here. You're all in that room. You all play for Arsenal Football Club, so you have something to offer. If you don't believe in yourself, Donny, I don't know who's going to believe in you. And if you are scared, go to church, bro, because Bernabeu is not the place for that. Let alone Goodison Park, which we are forgetting. I know it don't mean much, but it's dark.
Victor says the issue with the way that this is the issue with the way that we play. Our attackers run back and forth so much, then our defenders are so high up, leading them to making long recovery runs. Look at Spurs defense and Barca's injuries. Yeah, I mean, I think it's partly is the way that we play. I think it's not having rest. I think it's a layer of thing, like different layers of things. And it needs to be looked at because you can't be having this next season at all. Because if you guys think we're going to get all the depth that we possibly need in one summer window, it's not going to happen. Wally says Rice could play center back and play Jorginho or Zinchenko midfield. Burmese says, I was really thinking we would hold on to second in the Premier League, but with the fixtures that are left, it's not looking good without Gabriel. Yeah, second or third.
No pressure FC is a different beast. No pressure Arsenal FC is a different beast, though.
Yeah. I did not have us beating Fulham, so but then it would just be the thing where we just turn around and bust it open for Everton. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Bulgarian says we have to either play White, also not currently fit, and move Saliba to left center back or pray Calafiori is back. We are so screwed. And that's where we're at. Like we're very much so in a situation where I want to see Arteta do something. And I know it's like, but if it fails, you'll be upset. I need him to put his best foot forward. If that's
free at the back thing, man. Just run that.
Try to do something. I mean, I would prefer if we started off the game against Real Madrid with Timber, Saliba, Rice, and Miles Lewis-Skelly at center as our back line, and Partey played DM, and he did something like played both Odegaard and Ethan in midfield. I'd be like, fuck it, let's ball. Like I'm done. I think
Rice will stay in midfield. I'll be so honest. I think I don't think it's illogical what you lot are saying, and it's and all of those things. And I think there's a wider discussion. Half fit Calafiori, Lewis Skelly quality, but a lot of minutes in the legs. Benjamin White, Timber struggling. We've also got to remember there's a genuine chance at Rice in midfield, Rice at centre half, or Partey right back. Like these are not the conversations we should be having 3 years into this, aspiring for big trophies. But here we are, man, for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure. Diallo, thank you so much for your super chat. Says Jess, I'm on board for calling an investigation. I think they need to look at what the fuck's been going on because that's a lot. I feel like we're easing out of unlucky and we're easing into like, all right, what's actually really going on, Burmese says,
there's a degree of unluck, but it's incompetence. It's naivety and incompetence. Like we've been seeing Arsenal fans way before Mikel Arteta. We've seen injury crisis. The first year we fought for a league, we saw what one injury could do. The year after that, we missed Timber, Partey, etc. Also, we've seen how injuries can derail a Man United at times. Definitely Liverpool when they've been fighting. Mikel Arteta has worked at City and also seen the injury drop off himself. So there's a lot of learned experiences. This season is a year of reflection between Mikel Arteta, the physios, the recruitment staff. Everybody's played a part positively and at the moment negatively as to how we ended up here. We need to learn from these things now. And until we learn, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We're going to keep seeing this. How much football Timber's played, even coming back from an ACL, which I commend him. But as I said on my stream, there's no way you can convince me that if I could speak to Mikel Arteta, the physios, and Timber off the record, that they would say, yeah, you've played this, you've played the amount of minutes we expected. It's crazy.
It's scary because Ben White gets injured, and then that just threw Timber into like, all right, it's just you, buddy. You know, it's scary how much we've played him after the ACL. Burmy said, would a formation change be better instead of a 4-3-3? Do something like to secure the midfield, which makes us more defensively solid. You said move to like a back three or change the formation.
I'm back three, man.
Yeah, we got to do something. Victor says, I'm having Rice over Kiwior at center back. Diallo, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, but I'm not on board for premature Arteta blaming. I think we're kind of like in the same camp there, where the temperature for me is just a little bit lower on the Mikel is the reason, you know. So
he's played a part. Like everybody's played a part. That's my thing. I'm not on the scapegoating thing. Everybody's played a part. In the same way, last season, everybody was relatively injury free. You lot did well in that regards. I don't know if we're doing something different to last season. I don't know. I do think it's an element of bad luck, but also, come on, man, like it was been happening. Is it any surprise, especially the hamstring injuries? Because these men have played bare games for Arsenal and at country level. So everybody has to take blame. Arteta hasn't rotated, whether he's been able to because of the depth, whether the drop-off is too big. Everybody has to hold their blame, man. Big up, Marlo.
Diallo, thank you again. Says Kiwior defo suffers from imposter syndrome.
100.
And that's 100%. We were talking about this yesterday. I was just like, honestly, the biggest difference, because I do think Calafiori is just better than Kiwior, but I think the biggest difference between the two of them, they're both slow, they both make mistakes, you know, whatever. But the biggest difference is Calafiori believes that he's the guy. Like, he believes he's that guy. He made a mistake against, you know, City at the Etihad early on in the season and recovered and scored the equalizer. That is the type of mentality that you need going into a battle with Real Madrid. You
cut David Raya against United as well. Made a fuck up. Ended up keeping us in the game. Mistakes happen. I think too many people look at football like mistakes are not going to happen. Absolutely. Mistakes happen. People get lost. People lose the ball on transitions. It's how you react to it, man.
Yeah, just like in the quarterfinals against Bayern, Kiwior makes the first mistake and then doubles down and makes another one. And just never quite gets his footing back. And I'm scared about, this is somebody that really hasn't played at all this season. He didn't really get the run that he had last season, where we had like that 8-game period where he played. He hasn't really had that. And I'm sure his confidence, whatever is left of it, is definitely on the floor. And throwing him into the only game that matters, the only games that matter for a season now, is worrisome, you know. But somebody's going to have to tell him that he's the guy. And I don't know, his wife needs to do her job, you know, and tell him that he's that guy and get him up for the game.
What's the worst that could happen? You have a bad game? Did you kill anyone? It's not like you're a doctor and you're doing open heart surgery and your hand slips and someone's dead. What's the worst that if I could speak to Kiwior, what's the worst that could happen? People say what they said about you before. I would literally say to Kiwior, I don't rate you. I don't think that's that good, but I want you to have a good game. If you don't, what's the worst that could happen? What we say already. Believe in yourself. As I said, if you're scared, Kiwior, go church, man. Go church, man. Because Real Madrid is dark. At the Emirates is one thing, let alone at the Bernabeu.
You can play really good and
smell that you're done.
You can play the best football you've ever played in your life and still lose, because they have the black magic going for them. So we're going up against the forces of all forces in football. And we're all kind of going into it understanding that this is one of the first times in a long time that we've been an underdog. We're not usually the underdog in most games that we go into. We're usually expected to win. So it's not like it's a pressure off or a free hit. But I think for me, I just want to feel like we actually played, because my biggest regret from the Bayern game was the Bayern tie wasn't so much that we didn't go through. It's because I don't feel like we showed ourselves at all. I think
for me, in the second leg, we got stage fright, man.
Exactly. And I don't want that to happen again.
As well.
Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Davo says, I know Saka. All I know is Saka cannot start against Everton. Karkovsky could leave it something on him after that Liverpool game. He should have been sent off. That was horrendous.
Got away with murder there, yeah.
Yeah, that
And don't
was
forget the Ukrainian left back that plays for Everton, who we have a running joke, as you Arsenal fans know. Like that's the one guy that kind of copes on quote unquote with Bukayo. So yeah, it's
yeah.
a tough thing, and we
That's
all know
because he
what
doesn't get
happens.
a yellow. That guy has. I don't think he receives a yellow. It's usually at the very end of the game. For some
I don't
reason,
think I've
he's
ever seen him when it's not Arsenal versus them. I think he just lives to play against Saka, if I'm honest with you.
100%. Ryan says, we may have been short for too long, hence the players being overplayed. Next man
Million
up.
percent.
Jordan says the only thing good about our season is Berta. Literally everything is going to shit.
Hey, what about the youngsters, man? Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri, they're up there. They're
Yeah,
up there.
I agree. Diallo says Jess and DG, assuming Ben White is out for both Madrid legs, I would rather keep Timber on Vinny Jr. than play him next to Saliba. Thoughts? Well, if it's up to DG, he'll move Timber to the left-hand side unprovoked because
This
that's what
guy,
he said last week.
this girl. I clearly said I'm with what you're saying. I just can see Mikel Arteta. I'm not against it. Like it's better than Partey. What he's saying there is better than Partey. And you need to stop all of that because my opinions are irrelevant. You've been gassing up Kiwior. You know I'm gonna go and clip up all these clips. Your reputation is on the line, Miss She knows Arsenal. He's a good passer and all of this. All the days you were gassing him like the turn of last season, where he's not being put under any pressure against Burnley, and you're saying he's great, and against United. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. We are gonna see.
I'm gonna move Timber
We
to
are
the
gonna
left
see.
unprovoked.
Yeah,
No,
nah, listen, you better listen. You got bigger problems. You got bigger problems. Word to
I
Robbie,
don't.
bigger fish to fry.
Nobody on this earth
Kiwior's your
has a
guy. You said
bigger
he's a good
problem
passer.
than somebody that stands Gabriel Jesus in 2025.
I'd rather Gabriel Jesus. You mentioned Bayern Munich. Gabriel Jesus done it against Bayern. He got an assist. What has Kiwior done for this football team?
Gabriel
I back
Jesus
them,
is
man.
our highest
Forgive
earner.
me for backing Premier League winners and I'm not backing Kiwior. This is the difference. Standards FC versus the top gooners.
Not Tom Gooners. Oh
Hey,
my
your
God.
guy Kiwior. Let me see you walk on. Let me see you walk on.
Honestly, put out a decent 11 against Everton and sub in the academy to rest players versus Real Madrid.
Well, I'll tell you, even from the academy though, man. Jimmy Gawa, Nathan Butler, Adeji, Sego Jr. Them guys are unfortunately they're just shirt fillers on the bench. Like you might have to use them, but we've said that several times this season. Yo, this one can play, that one can play. Arteta's got his own different viewing, and he's gonna keep doing what he's doing, in it.
Hakuza says, "Don't get it twisted. Calafiori is also a human cone." I would say
What does that
that
mean?
like I get this whole idea that any one of our defenders, if they ever get beaten, the narrative instantly becomes that they're not a good defender. We have two defenders that I feel like are elite 1v1, three actually. The other players get beat, like most players get beat. Calafiori is to me a left-sided center back, and we need to start playing him there whenever he's fit because left back requires him to be up against players that test his lack of agility, and that's just not his bag. So I think when he plays in his natural position, he'll be able to figure it out a little bit more. But this is Arteta, I feel like thinks every single center back can do what Ben White has done. Ben White jumping into right back and being so good, he thinks he can replicate that with everyone. Some
But
people are
is he
just
wrong
what
with
they are.
Calafiori though? But is he wrong with Calafiori? Because I slightly disagree. Because I do think his future is probably centre half, and he typically
It is.
excels at that at Italy in the back three. But one, Gabriel Magalhaes still has to defend those wide areas. Still has to kind of pull to the edge of Raya's box when we're playing out from the back. So if you're struggling at left back, you're going to struggle there. And Calafiori, like we can't act like Calafiori ain't played left back before prior to coming to this football club. Like
It's just the intensity and the types of wingers that he has to come up against in the Premier League to me is just so different than Serie A. And so I think he'll continue to get beaten in a way that, and to be
we'll get
honest,
ripped at centre half.
yeah,
Just needs to go on the defensive crash course, Jess, man. Like, I got time for Calafiori, but I don't see the qualities I need to see defensively at this moment in time. But we got bigger problems than Calafiori, man.
this is kind of why, like, if we do go get like a left back, I'd prefer them to just be a left back or somebody that's used to being in those wide channels against good wingers, because it doesn't make sense to continue. I mean, we have Kiwior and Calafiori now, who together we've spent like what 60-70 million on the two of them, if not a little.
Hey, don't Kiwior is your guy. Now we're gonna see.
No, let me finish.
Don't turn on him now.
60 to 70 million on players that haven't adapted to that left back role. So if we go out and get a left back, they just need to be kind of a left back. Like, I'm kind of over the trying to make a center back into a left back, because I also feel like that compounds the injury issues, because they're not used to doing all that fucking running. Victor says Kala should have gone to Inter Milan. He would have been good cover for Bastoni. They are both adventurous center backs who look good in a back three formation.
Shout, to be fair. I'm happy Calafiori's here, man.
Diallo says, Jess, I caught your transfer stream yesterday on replay. Thank you for straightening those crybabies who still are shouting for Isak. It ain't happening, guys. Let it go. It's literally something that every time I see it, my brain just goes into what world is some of these people living in? Like, how many times do you need to hear it ain't happening for you to get it through your head? I don't get it. I get that he would be the number one option, but
gotta let it go, man.
Yeah. Victor says, we aren't beating Everton, by the way. Extremely physical, low block with Beto versus Kiwior is scary scenes. Look what Beto did to Virgil van Dijk and Konate yesterday. I have to hope that they were just up for the derby, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Kiwior's your guy, man.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna see.
Oh. Rather rep Kiwior than Gabriel Jesus, let's be honest.
I'd rather rep Gabriel Jesus. At least he can play ball. I've seen Gabriel Jesus, as crap as he's been for Arsenal, has done way more things of significance than Kiwior. Kiwior has, in 8 months, Lewis Kelly has done way more than Kiwior will ever do. Even though I hope I'm wrong, because your boy needs to stand up to at Madrid. Allow it. Rob Holding's been better than Kiwior. Allow it.
Oh my
Please. Rob Holding has. There's way more memorable games from Rob Holding than Kiwior. And I don't want to do this because I've actually been gassing up Kiwior, but come on now.
No. Liking a backup left back is never going to be a sin like Gabriel Jesus.
No. You told me Kiwior was a great passer.
Fire in the belly.
You told me
Kiwior fire in the belly, and it was
you told me Kiwior was a great 1v1 defender. He's great on the ball.
I never said he was a great 1v1 defender. I said he was good on the ball.
100% Rob Holding has had better games if I could rise up 5 to 10 games. I could rise up 5 to 10 games.
I think Kiwior is less of an egregious situation than what Jesus has been for this football club.
I mean, Gabriel Jesus has had that 6 months. What's Kiwior done?
6 months for our
don't beef me. Beef Mikel Arteta. I didn't buy Gabriel Jesus.
Main striker?
Why are you getting at me for supporting our players? I didn't buy Gabriel Jesus. Your manager did.
Listen, well,
your manager said Gabriel Jesus changed our world. I ain't heard none of that with Kiwior. The closest praise I've heard for Kiwior has been Lewandowski saying he's a good defender. Why is he saying he's a good defender? Because he's probably getting YouTube highlights of him in training for Poland.
Arteta is wrong a lot. And with Gabriel Jesus, he was definitely wrong. Fire in the belly got a lot of y'all gassed, and it ended up being nothing. But I did like the hat trick when we got that. Boy says Kiwior was all right at the back end of last season. Terrence says Jesus was our number one striker who struggles to score goals and told everyone who's not good at scoring. That was a very low point. Bulgarian says Jess is right. Kiwior is good on the ball. That's been his biggest asset.
Good on the ball, yeah.
Side. Valeria's question is, what positions need to be upgraded instantly in the summer? What players need to be downgraded to bench players? Go ahead.
I think we'll say the same thing. Clearly, we need a number 9, whether that's Gyökeres or I'm going to probably, the impossible dream of Isaac, which isn't going to happen, but you need a striker.
Are you excited about Gyökeres potentially? I know you were before you were just go ahead and bring anybody, but now that it's a tangible option, is that somebody that you're, hand in the shirt, get in the shirt, you're going to be excited?
Yeah, why wouldn't that be? Because it now tells me, but obviously he's 26, so it's kind of, I need you to impact us right now. I know you've got a number of years in the tank, but it's right now. I like the fact of, we'll never know unless we speak with Mikel Arteta or Berta, but the language you hear is Berta's a big fan, and you've seen it kind of shift from the Sesko thing to that. So yeah, man, I'm down for it, man. It's with now mode. He's got a reason to want to perform. Him and Saka, I'm with it. But I still maintain, I just want to strike him, man. Whoever that is, wherever it is, I just want to strike him, man.
Yeah, I think it's been so long overdue that it just needs to get done. And I think Berta has such a long-term, long-standing kind of like experience of being able to bring in strikers. He brought in like a lot of strikers for Atletico, so and they've never been in a situation like us where they ain't had one, you know. So I think he'll make it his personal business to get that attack some quality. And as much as I know people are not fully sold on Gyökeres, it's nothing can be as bad as what we're doing right now, guys. Nothing.
Exactly, like
Nothing.
Marino's doing his thing, but like at the end of the day, like look at where we're getting to, and 8 or a 6 is playing up front, and he's doing his thing. In fact, the last 2 left 8s we've bought, ironically, have ended up being our strikers. Like these are conversations or these are scenarios we need to stop happening, man. We need a striker, need a left winger, need a centre mid. Think we need a goalkeeper or two. If you could get me an English keeper that's like 35 on a Scott Carson thing, that's going to be your third choice loan out the young G's. Get your Garcia if you want. We've indirectly spoke about defense, and then it's just about the depth, and quality versus quantity is going to be a massive debate with the fans, man. It overlaps kind of, but some of these things that we've been waffling about negatively in the last 2, 3 or so years, it needs to end, man. It needs to end. Like,
Yeah. Boyd says Sesko improves as Berta says he want Gyökeres instead. Go on, Berta, sign him. I mean, we just really just need a striker. It's really just that simple. I remember you had mentioned on a show not too long ago. I think you had asked me about, maybe it was you, maybe it was a different player, but I know you've probably seen him play. El Canus, we've been linked to El Canus kind of player.
the rest of you,
What you said you kind of liked him.
I
I've
do
done
like him.
research. I think I like him. I like him as well. I'd like us to bring in somebody like that. Little,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know how credible the links
yeah.
are, and obviously there's other priorities elsewhere. But if in an ideal world, if it's easier said than done, but we flush out the majority of the players that need to leave, we bring in what we need to
Mhm.
do, we deal with the contracts. I'd love him, man. He's 20. I think you could play in a couple of positions. I kind of see him going positively, like how the Fabio Vieira angle was supposed to be. I'm on it, man. There's a lot of upside.
Yeah, because I was like, I remember you mentioning him like a couple weeks ago, and I actually got a chance to like sit down and watch some clips and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, he looks pretty good, and I think that position has gone up in people's priorities because of our lack of creativity and Odegaard's season and all that kind of stuff. I do think that that's probably last on the club's priority list, but we have been also linked with like Javi Simmons
And the
and stuff like
Napan
that.
guy as
So
well.
Nipin. So I think if it gets done, it will probably be like a sales type of thing. But we can't go into next season with one attacking midfielder outside of like Odegaard and Wanyeri. I think we need somebody that can play on that other side because both of them can play on the right, you know. So we need to do something. Marino's not adding any creativity. We know what Declan Rice struggles with. So yeah, they're going to need to do something. But again, we have to buy 12 left backs again. So and a 5 goalkeeper.
This is what we do,
So
man. This is what we do.
sick. Terrence says Wenger wasn't serious comp. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Bulgarian says we could go back for Nipin, but personally, I couldn't care less about the attacking midfield signing. It's the bottom of the list of priorities. I think it's on the bottom of the club's list of priorities as well, but I think it's higher with Arsenal fans that want Odegaard to kick rocks. It's not going to happen, guys. He's not losing his spot or anything. I'm so sorry. I hate to tell you that. Can't wait for the Sesko and Gyökeres debates. It's going to be interesting because I do still think that Sesko might end up in the Premier League. He might end up at Chelsea, you know, so that would be interesting. Who do you think wins out between those two? Sesko at Chelsea or Gyökeres with us?
The one who signs for Arsenal, man. Because football's a weird game, man. We can end up still signing Sesko and Gyökeres goes Chelsea, man. What's being said in the papers and what's actually happening in football sometimes can be two different realities, man. But whichever one signs for Arsenal, sorry,
Absolutely.
Sesko, but if you sign for Chelsea, obviously I hope you stink up the place.
Yeah. MM says, I hope it brings in maverick players who believe in themselves even when the chips are down. Personality does matter in our attack, and I think we spoke about that the attacking personalities are just not there. So we need that people that believe in themselves. Victor says, kind of crazy how we aren't even in the mix for Shirky. The guy is available for 20 million, and he's one of the most creative players in Europe right now at 21. Why do you think that is? Why do you think no one has taken a punt on Shirky?
There must be something that we're not privy to if we work in the world, unless you work in the world of football, because he's got the talent. The man could be anything he wants if he really works hard. And it seems like he's such an obvious buy. It's a bit like how it's different, but how I looked at Ivan Toney from the clubs he's being linked with to ending up in Saudi, or even Osman ending up in Galatasaray for whatever reason. There's when something appears so obvious and nobody's done something, there's got to be something in it. And people no doubt say attitude issues, and he probably has to address that if it is the case. But to which I would say, what player doesn't have attitude problems? Thierry Henry, I know I'm not saying he's Thierry Henry, but Henry had attitude problems. Argument's sake, how do we know the players that we don't hold in high regards internally at Arsenal have attitude issues? It's just about having humility. It's just about knowing when to calm down. We've all seen the interview Henry did the other day where he said there was a Champions League game, we lost 2-0. Arsene Wenger was talking about the statistics we had, etc., and he kept saying we lost 2-0. That's all that matters. All the players we hold in high regards had a chip on their shoulder. It just depends how you obviously manage that. And I would say for Mikel Arteta, whether he's going to be a success or at Arsenal or elsewhere, but I'm sure he wants to have ambitions to be like what Klopp did, Pep, Wenger, Jose, where they're managing top players. Typically, they have an attitude issue. So you're not always gonna have an Arsenal situation where you win and then you cancel contracts or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, man. I got time for Cherky though. Just in terms of the technical level and being a baller, absolutely.
It depends on I feel like the fee, as the fee gets lower, again, sorry, as the fee gets lower, I feel like the risk is less. And so a Shirky with a bad attitude at 50, 60 million is completely different than a bad attitude Shirky at 20 million, because then, you're not spending as much. So I think somebody
I know when to calm your ego down, man. As long as you don't put your ego before your teammates and your manager, you're good in it. But I'm sure he will learn that as he gets older.
Yeah, I think his environment is not great. I think the people around him and his agent are what actually is the problem. I'm not sure it's just Turkey. I think he has a bit of an Awar situation going on. So I don't know, but
I heard that name forever.
That's like the biggest difference, I feel like, or one of the bigger differences between Arsene and Arteta is that Arsene didn't really give a fuck about none of that. Like, he was like, as long as you have the technical level that I require, I'm bringing you. I can deal with the bigger personalities. Henri is one of the biggest personalities you can deal with. You
don't have to prove much nowadays. I think it was easier. I think it was easier in them days, man. I think them days were easier because I think one thing I will give Arteta, as much as we can criticize, maybe he wants those kind of targets or not, player power is the strongest it's ever been. Like, you lose a couple of players in today's day and age, you're gone, man. So yeah, like, it makes sense. And I don't want to sound old school, but
right,
it's a mentality thing. Them man were like grown men. Like, nowadays, you could be quote unquote made it from a lifestyle point of view at 18, 19. When you're getting this money, everyone's telling you how good you are, you're playing. You can forgive these young players at times for thinking they're bigger than they actually are. It's probably different. It's probably an era thing, really, just.
Yeah, I don't see us being the team that takes the risk on Shirky.
Yeah, we ain't
unfortunately, doing that. Somebody else will. But bringing in a profile like that, I think we do need, especially because we don't know what's going on with Fabio, and whether you like Fabio or not having any other creativity sucks, so we need to look at something 100%. But we need to buy left backs and shit. So Fulham or West Ham will go for him. Blaze says, yeah, we have a fan in the chat who's trolling, talking a lot of rubbish. I don't know who this is. I don't know who it is, but whatever. Probably like Luth fan, maybe. I don't know. He's just talking, guys. You guys are laughing, and I'm just making sure I get on the comments. Jordan says, we are linked to Simmons. Isn't he a similar profile to Shirky? Plus, he's done it at a high level. Yeah. We are like linked to Xavi Simmons. Would you want Xavi Simmons? Do you like him? What's going on?
I mean, there's always scope for good players, but do we really buy into that Xavi Simmons stuff? Of course, I hope I'm wrong and I wake up and we sign Xavi Simmons, but really?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, last thing is the back to goal thing with Gyökeres. I saw that there was like, Alex had said he's not good with his back to goal. What do you think?
I mean, I've seen enough from it. If you're asking me, I think I've seen enough with his back to goal and his channel playing the variety of goals he scored to think that it's worth a punt. I wouldn't say that's a weak point of Gyökeres's, but it's the beautiful thing about football. Opinions are subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's woke nonsense and thing. I don't really I get that some of the same things that, I mean, a lot of the same people. I know Alex did one of these before, and the Arsenal Vision did this before, and we were initially linked to Gyökeres last summer. They did these scouting reports and basically said no Gyökeres because he can't play our system. But if you can name me a striker that plays in a similar system to what we play now, then do it, but you won't because nobody plays like us. And that didn't stop, Pep from going to get Holland, who does not fit their system at all. But
if he scores the goals, who cares, man?
Yeah, exactly. This whole, but back to goal, but he goes out wide, but he's 26. Like, guys,
not being funny, but like the man's clearly like a decent striker. Whether he's successful at Arsenal or somewhere else, who knows? But yeah, I don't think that's an issue of his.
Exactly. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We have talked ad nauseum about this stuff, and we did it on both channels. So you guys,
you're leaving a question, man. Is it Valera? They've asked that question quite a few times. Man, it'd be rude. Yeah, don't add. Do we need a new captain next season?
What do you think? Do you want to change the captain next season?
I wouldn't. Well, if it was up to me, it'd be Gabriel Magalhaes or Declan Rice. They're more my sort of captains, but I just don't think it's gonna happen, innit? Like, maybe you could argue that lifts Odegaard and whatnot in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it does much. I think you just need to see 11 captains. You look at the Invincibles. You knew who was the captain, but everybody led by example. Just lead in your own way and do what you need to do, innit?
Yeah, I think with the captaincy situation, it's more like, when Xhaka was here, he was basically like the captain, but Arteta couldn't give him the captaincy because of what happened with Crystal Palace. So exactly. He led, but Odegaard was kind of the face. And we didn't start having these captaincy conversations until Xhaka left. So nothing is stopping the other players from being leaders, so Odegaard is kind of like the face. We know what he is. He's been our captain for a long time now,
I do like when Saka wears the armband, though. I must admit.
I like when Saka wears the armband as well. I just don't. I think it's more of like a thing for the fans. They want to see somebody yelly and shouty and running through people's ankles for their sake, but nothing is stopping anybody else from leading. And I don't think he's going to get stripped of the captaincy. I think if he had a better season like he's had in seasons gone past, this wouldn't be a conversation. But everything is under the microscope because we haven't performed well. He's had a poor season. So, yeah, so.
Does need to stop hiding, though. I will say that. Need to see a bit more from you, Odegaard. You got it in your locker, but the armband, really, like where we've got Marino up front. We don't know the status of who is going to be playing in defense going into Madrid. It's another season of us not getting silverware. There's plenty of questions about the recruitment and all that kind of stuff. Really, like this captain debate, really. So we got serious things to fix in-house. We do all of that, then maybe we can have this debate, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys didn't watch the show that me and Deluded did earlier, make sure you go to his channel. How do you get to your channel?
Just type in Deluded Goon, or I'm sure it's in the title, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. And then I also was on the show earlier with Judge Mo and Mixed Company and all that kind of stuff. So that was fun. So make sure you guys check that out. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.